happened to be on the same train as the Millwall fans.
Wow.
I had to get off the train with them. And then I got kettled, right, by the police.
No.
What I really wanted to say was, no, mate, I'm West Ham. I babysat Daniel Levy.
What?
When I used to work...
Wait a minute.
I did do a gig once where one of the acts was called Dead Elvis. So what I did is I pushed him back in his coffin. But I didn't know that it had a lock.
I want to tell you all now, yeah? If you mug me off on this, I still know people, yeah?
Hello and welcome to Ironcast. What a guest we have for you today, but we've got a new co-host. Ginger's away. Please welcome loans manager, West Ham legend, the man responsible for the goal and the assist that took us to the Premier League in 2012, West Ham legend by the name of Carlton Cole. Welcome, Carlton.
Thank you. Listen, that legend shout, I've told you before. I can't be walking around London with a legend sign on my name.
Yeah.
It's got to be, I don't mind cult hero.
Icon.
All right? I like icon. We can do the icon thing.
And our guest today, I tell you what, one of the most viral sensations in British comedy, a Newham boy, but most importantly, a West Ham fan. Welcome to Ironcast, Jeff Innocent.
Thank
Jeff.
you very much indeed. It's an honour and a privilege. And Carlton, I have to say, I get introduced as a legend sometimes. But what I don't like about legend, it suggests that your best days are behind you, doesn't it? This guy used to be good. Bit of a legend because of what he did in the past. So I don't like the legend thing.
Yeah,
but
we like to look to the future.
Yeah. One of our potential.
Yeah.
Like something, yeah. So I get that, though. I get that. But thank you very much for inviting me. I told you earlier, a lot of my real mates who are real ardent supporters who come every week are already having a go at me. They're going, you only watch it on the telly? What are you doing there? So
Nothing wrong with that.
all hardcore West Ham fans, forgive me. Yeah. I do generally only watch it on the telly. I don't want anyone coming after me. I don't.
I've never seen you at the game.
See what I mean? Well, no. You seem quite a lot of people that look like me on the game, yeah?
On the terraces.
Yeah, that's right, exactly, old school, yeah. But thanks very much. I'm really made up and I'm privileged. It's an honour.
Glad
Thank
to
you
have
very
you
much.
among
Thank
us.
you.
You've been on the British comedy circuit for a long time, but I just took you out to see the pitch, and you stood on the edge of the pitch and you said, in comedy you can make a mistake, but out on the pitch there's no hiding.
Yeah.
So
no,
what,
there isn't. There isn't.
Do you think comedy's easier? Comedy's easier than
comedy.
football?
You're generally, if you're doing a comedy club, you're up there for 20 minutes, and if a thing doesn't work out, it's not so bad. It's just 300 people in the audience. But when you're out on that pitch and there's tens of thousands of people, and you make a mistake, and they're on your back, aren't they? So that looks tough to me. That looks tough.
Have you ever been heckled?
Not really. I don't really.
Booed off stage? Booed off stage? Or
No. I haven't been. I don't really get heckled. I think what happens is after you've been going for a while, you know what you're doing. So you don't really. I don't really get heckled that much
anymore or before?
No, not really at all.
Oh, you've had a nice crowd.
Yeah, it's not. It might not be that my comedy's so good. It might be that they're a little bit frightened because I've got to walk past them on the way out, haven't I? It's not like on the telly where you can say exactly what you want. So I've had a lucky ride in that sense.
Yeah.
But you're a West Ham fan, but not necessarily by birthright. Am I right?
This is tricky. I was actually born in Peckham and spent the first few years of my life living in Camberwell. So my dad's team was Millwall. So I came over here at 10, and now I've got this issue, where my dad's Millwall. I'm now living in a West Ham area, so it was tricky early days, okay? But I must just tell you this, while we're talking about Millwall, I was working in up north a couple of years ago, and I left my phone at a gig, and I had to go back. So I was on a train going to Sheffield, and I happened to be on the same train as the Millwall fans who were going to play Sheffield, right? I was in amongst them.
Wow.
I had to get off the train with them. And then I got kettled, right, by the police.
No.
And I'm stuck there. And I thought, well, what am I going to do? I can't start going, no, mate. I did protest once. I went, mate, I'm not one of these. I'm not one of the football guys. Go, yeah, sure, mate. Because look at me. And then what I really wanted to say was, no, mate, I'm West Ham. Right? And I thought, no. I don't think that would be a good idea.
You don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be doing that.
But so I struggled in the early days. And the other problem I had when I was growing up is is that I was a big Bobby Charlton fan. Okay, and I don't think any West Ham fans from the old days would say there's anything wrong with that. So I had that dilemma of supporting West Ham, but my favourite player played for another team. I'm sure I can't be the only one. So I obviously, and I came of age football. I was about 10 when England won the World Cup. Well, when West Ham won the World Cup, of course. So it was a bit tricky growing up with my dad, actually, but it all worked out okay in the end.
You talk about Millwall. I was over there the other day, and obviously I stick out like a sore thumb over there.
Did you get recognised?
Yeah, of course you do, but they know I was on a business trip.
Okay.
Because if you're the loans manager, you got to go and watch the players that are on loan at different grounds, obviously for different clubs. So I was so nervous going in there, and outside, obviously, of the den, it says "Welcome to Millwall." So I done an Instagram post that says, "But am I welcome?" And I got loads of
immediately, probably
immediately. Yeah. And then, to be fair to them, they was really nice. I actually enjoyed it because they lost.
Yeah,
2-0.
Jeff, you went to school right near Upton Park, didn't you? Lister School, same as Sol Campbell?
I went to Lister School in the 60s, left in about 71, I think. I can't remember exactly. And it was actually called, it was a grammar school. It was called Lister County Technical School in those days.
That's posh. An aristocrat.
It was a bit posh. I think it kind of aspired to be posh in that they had kind of grammar school, almost public school things like you're in houses, you're in this house or that house. Do you remember the house system that they have in?
Only
the
from Harry
headmaster
Potter.
used to come and do the assembly in a gown. It was a bit old school, but it was a kind of a school in transition because it was the late 60s. So there were a lot of young modern teachers coming in, and we were doing all these new subjects like I don't know, sociology, which was a very new thing then for kids in the 60s. But relevant to us today, I did play football for Lister. But what I have to say is Lister School was very small. They had 2 classes in every year, okay? Only 2 classes of about 30 or 40. So it's like 80 kids in each year. Our football teams were absolutely rubbish. So we used to lose like 42-0 and stuff like that. No, for real. No, I could choose any random figure, 61-7, 29-1. That was it every week because we didn't even have enough kids in the year to get an 11. And if you were any good in the first year, you were in the third year team as well. Wow. Not only that, we were playing against boys' schools from Canning Town, like Shipman and Pretoria, which actually was probably the old West Ham Academy, Pretoria, when you think about the amount of players that came from Pretoria School. So it was a nightmare, actually. So I did used to play football, but I'm someone who's used to losing in football.
Was you any good though? You could lose, but
well, I don't know.
Left foot, right foot.
I don't think.
Good header.
I think I was okay. What it was is because Bobby Charlton was my hero. I tried to play like Bobby Charlton, but he used to do a little thing with holding his sleeves as well. Like I used to copy that, but I don't think I was very good. I'm not going to sit and say I was very good.
I'm going to say you're a tricky winger. You look like a tricky winger.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can still cross the ball. I can still put a pass on a penny. I think most. I remember a Canadian comedian. He had this routine and he was saying, look, most English guys, no matter how old or fat they are, they can still pass the ball and stick it on a penny. And I thought, you're kind of right there, Yeah. We all learned to play football at school. We all played football, didn't we? We played football at school, football as soon as you got home, late at night. I was one of those in the street, in your carpet slippers football,
Yeah, you started, so I'm trying to figure out when you started going over Upton Park, about 1968, right? Which was a golden era.
It would have been around, it was, and it would have been around the World Cup, or 66, 68 probably. I was 12-ish, so becoming conscious. Always had to go with someone else at that time. But then, of course, my dad wanted to take me to Millwall. I had an uncle that kept taking me to Arsenal. People are always trying to pull you in other directions, aren't they? Come and support my team. And then you start going with your mates. And, so I wasn't, even then, I didn't used to go every week. But to date me, I remember going where we were wearing Stack Hill shoes and flares. So that kind of budgie. Do you remember Adam Faith played the character budgie jackets? It was that period. Mr. Byright.
Mr. Byright.
Yeah, Mr. Byright. Because Mr. Byright started just here in Angel Lane, selling Ben Sherman's to skinheads in 68, 69. And then they opened this whole load of shops. I worked for them when I first went to work. That was my Saturday job, Mr. Byright's in East Ham.
Mr. Byright, I remember buying my first Ben Sherman shirt.
Yeah.
On Hounslow High Street.
Right.
And my nan bought it for me.
Okay, there you go.
It was like a checkered one as well, a green one. That was my best shirt.
They were massive, Byright. Well, actually,
I wore it every Saturday.
Whatever happened to going out shirts?
I know. Remember
Hackett?
Ben Sherman, Hackett.
Used to put on a going out shirt. No one puts on
you know who
shirts.
who owned Byright? The Levy brothers. Daniel Levy, is the son of the original Mr. Byright owner, Lou Levy. Yeah. In fact, I babysat Daniel Levy.
What?
When I used to work.
Wait a minute.
When I used to work for Mr. Byright, Barry or Jeffrey, the two sons, right, used to bring their son in to play in the shop. Keep an eye on him, will you?
What?
Keep an eye on Daniel, and that ended up being Daniel Levy. Yeah, so I've babysat Daniel Levy. I forgot about that. That's a good football story.
That is a great football. Yeah. And he must have learned a few things from you, eh?
Well,
you rubbed off on him.
No, because they lived in Forest Gate. They lived in Seabrook Road or just behind Forest Gate then. Yeah.
Oh,
so,
amazing.
yeah, I know.
You've got a few other West Ham contacts as well. We were just talking about Alan Kirbishley.
So
what's the family connection?
Well, what it is I was mates with his late brother, Alf Kirbishley, and Alf and his wife were godparents to my child.
Wow.
So sort of connected to the Kirbishley family. Yeah, I've forgotten about all this. I should have, I didn't think about all this, but stuff comes out as you remember.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Well, Curbs was one of my managers.
Oh, okay.
Twice, actually. He managed me at Charlton.
Oh, okay.
And he managed me at West Ham.
And actually, I mean, I don't really know Alan very well, but he's very much like his late brother, Alf.
Oh, is he, yeah?
His voice, when I hear him it just sounds like Alf. It's spooky, But yeah, he came from that family, so I'm sure he was a pretty no-nonsense kind of guy.
Yeah, great guy.
I couldn't imagine him taking any mucking about.
No, he didn't. He didn't. And if he did sense that, he'd shove you out.
Sure,
definitely.
Sure.
We've got to talk about yourself, Jeff, because over the last few years, you've become a viral sensation. I wondered, has your life completely changed? Your clips on TikTok and Instagram have gone into the millions. It's blown up. What's it been like?
Well, what happened is we put a couple of clips out on Instagram. I've got a young guy involved, Sam Piccone, who's actually a Spurs fan.
Oh.
What can you do?
You can't do
I feel sorry for him as well, don't you? You've got to feel sorry for him.
When you brought up Daniel Levy,
he's beneath you, isn't he? So
But he's a great guy. But he's a very good on technology. And we put some clips out. They went viral. And how it works in the comedy industry now, it used to be that you have to be on TV, be in a few programs. You become famous on TV, then you can do tours based on your TV presence. But now it's about Instagram. And so basically you build a following on Instagram with your clips, and that converts into an audience that will pay to come and watch you do your tour. So it has been life-changing. Not that much. I'm still living in Custom House. I keep saying to people, the day I'm not living here, I've really cracked it. Yeah, but I'm still living in Custom House. And but what it meant, I think, the biggest change it meant was that you get recognised a lot, sort of daily, 6 times a day, as soon as you leave the house. In fact, I even had people knocking on the door, going, I knew it was you. They've got my clip on their phone. I knew it was you. I was telling people at work, it's you, it's my neighbour. And then I've got neighbours coming for selfies. Because it's different now, it's the selfies and the thing. I go to the local train station, Prince Regent on the DLR, have to do a selfie there, you get recognised on the train.
But people knocking on your door for a selfie.
Knocking on the door. Well, I've done
that before.
I've got my son. He's now 20. He had some friends round. I was in the kitchen in a pair of underpants and Crocs. And his friend went, "Oh my God, I've just realised who you are." I like to do a selfie in the kitchen.
Not in your underpants, obviously.
Yeah. Right. I think it's the Crocs that's more embarrassing, don't you? And And even in the hospital, I went to have my knee X-ray, and the two nurses, one of them recognised me, and I had to do a selfie whilst on the hospital bed, surrounded by two nurses, sort of doing a selfie. So it's mad, it's mad. And
life-changing.
It takes some getting used to, doesn't it?
How have you got used to it now? Are you happy with it all? Or?
Well, I've had to learn how to do it a little bit. I mean, I'm sure you've been down this road for years, haven't you? But I think what it is I'm a bit confrontational in life, or I'm a bit, I speak my mind, and I get into little incidents sometimes on a daily basis. Nothing nasty, just me. I don't know. It's just how I am, and I've had to stop that. I can't kick off in public anymore. Yeah. So that's one of the things that's been taken away from me. In fact,
away from me?
Yeah, that freedom. Well, someone trod on my toe the other day. I know it was an accident, but I just sort of
you flare up.
And I thought, well, I can't do that now.
Do that anymore.
You go ahead, tread on my toes, everybody.
Do your thing.
Yeah.
So you have to practice patience.
Yeah, it's taught me patience, actually. Yeah. And but I think it's part of the job now, the selfie thing. It's part of the job when you're a comedian. And it's all love and affection. It's not people being horrible or taking the piss. It's all love. They love your stuff, and I appreciate that. So I quite enjoy it, but it took some getting used to. However, since I've grown the beard, I've not done one selfie.
Well, is this what the beard is? Is it the beard as a disguise?
Yeah, it is. It's like I'm on the run. I know when I was growing up, anyone you saw with a beard that never had a beard before, you thought, oi. They're on the trot, these people. On the lam, as they say. And you know what I really like to say? Well, I really wanted to come on here and say, because years ago, when you see someone with a beard who never had a beard, it's because they were an actor. Oh, yeah, I'm doing a kind of medieval movie at the moment. I wanted to say that, but I'm not. But it would be cool. It would be cool. I've enjoyed. That's been the most life-changing thing, really. The biggest difference is, instead of just being a circuit comedian that goes to comedy clubs where there are 4 other comedians, I now can go and do my own shows, with my own audience who have already got a relationship with me on Instagram. So I think that's changed it for everyone. Yeah. You cut out the gatekeepers. There's no producers, there's no BBC. You have a direct relationship with the audience who buy in and like your kind of comedy. And I think my daughter said, what my daughter said, she's very loyal. She said, I think the world's caught up with your comedy, Dad. And I think what it is, however, is that the sort of stuff I talk about is very inclusive, about multiculturalism, diversity, about coming from Newham. And I think since the Black Lives Matter, those times have changed, and I think there is an audience there that have found a comedian that has that kind of attitude. Yeah. So I think that's one of the reasons that my comedy became popular fairly recently. It's not false modesty, but I just think the relevance of what I do became more apparent.
And you're quite funny as well. So
there probably is that.
Let's not forget that
there
part.
Probably is that. Well, Davina McCall, and I don't usually quote other people, someone sent me her podcast, and they went, Davina McCall's talking about you for about 10 minutes. I went, what? And she said, and I'd never thought this before, she said, the thing with Jeff Innocent, it always looks like it's going to go to a dangerous place, but it always has a happy ending. And I thought, I didn't even know I did that.
And is it right? You didn't start comedy till you were 40. Quite late.
I did a workshop when I was 40 at the Tom Allen Centre, which I think is now an African church, and it was a sort of cultural centre almost opposite Theatre Royal Stratford. So I did my workshop there, and so I was probably about 41 when I first started doing gigs, because I just left University of East London. I went to the University of East London for 5 years.
So did I.
5 years.
So did I, yeah.
Really? So I was a mature student. So I was in my mid-30s or whatever then. Did a BA, then did an MA. I couldn't, once you go to college as an older person, you don't want to leave it, do you? You just, I want more of this. So, and then it kind of followed on after that. And I don't think I could have been the sort of comedian I am now if I hadn't university and having an education really helped me a great deal, I think.
Yeah. And obviously quite a few years on the circuit. Every comedian's got a bad gig story. What is there anything that sticks?
Well,
out?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've done gigs where a fight's broken out and the whole audience have been in a big
Seriously?
fight.
Melee, like
all the lights have come on. We've had to ditch the gig like a proper, like Up the Creek, which is a renowned proper comedy club with 300 people. People arguing over seats, and it escalates, and there's two groups of people, and it turns into
West Ham and Millwall
kind of stuff. Well, of course, yeah, of course, you know what they're like. Over there, making trouble. But I haven't. I mean, I think I haven't really. Obviously, when you're learning your trade, like everything, your gigs are not always great. But after a while, when you know what you're doing, it tends to be not you, but something else that's outside of your power to change. I did do a gig once where one of the acts was called Dead Elvis, and he came out of a coffin like an Elvis zombie.
What?
And for some reason, I don't know what the connection is, he had this kind of placenta that he was juggling placenta.
Juggling
Carlton,
placentas?
I've got no idea what the connection was. And this was in Newcastle, and I was the compere, and they totally hated him. They hated him, were booing and chucking stuff. So I thought, the best thing for me to do is get this guy off straight away. So what I did is I pushed him back in his coffin, but I didn't know that it had a lock that he couldn't get out. So he's struggling in the coffin, and I'm going, there you go, dead Elvis, not dead enough for us, eh? And everyone's laughing, and then the police got involved because he complained. Yeah, this is what happens to me. Yeah, things escalate. The police got involved for assault, and it was in the newspaper. And then it said comedy host locks acting coffin. Yeah, so things like that happen.
Wow. Well, that didn't have a happy ending, then, did it?
No. Or you get put in circumstances where you think this shouldn't happen. A gig on the London Eye, in the what do you call these things? Capsules or whatever, where you have to do your show, and then you get off and get into another one and do the show again. So they get put into very odd circumstances. And of course, this audience they'd never been to London before. I think they were from up north. They weren't interested in me doing all my cockney comedy. They were looking out the window and looking at stuff. Yeah, you get put in very strange circumstances. But so there's probably loads of gigs that are mad, that are like that.
Yeah, a lot of your comedy seems to come from personal experience and things that happen to you.
Yeah.
It does seem that a lot of things happen to you. I was on the phone to you last week.
A lot of things happen.
I was on the phone to you last week. You just had a row with the Uber driver. It's just
that one. I mean, I don't.
I thought you was being patient.
No, I don't.
I thought you was practicing patience.
I have practiced it, and I'm a lot better than I used to. Do you know? I feel like someone who I used to be on about 5 incidents a day. I've cut down. I think. I mean, I like to think that it's the outside world.
Yeah.
But then when I look at the incidents, the thing that links them together is me, right? And I think what it is I've got a very low threshold. Here's an example of that could trigger me. That's a very contemporary word, isn't it? Trigger or sets me off, right? And it's very small things. So I'm sure this is a spectrum thing. I haven't been diagnosed, but I'm sure. So if I leave my house in the morning feeling great, go to my local station, press the lift button, stand there, and someone walks in front of me and presses that lift button again. I can't let that go.
Yeah, I can understand.
I can't, even though, I'll tell you what I'm like. When you go to put a cup down on the edge of a table, it's going to fall, but somehow you still do it, and it falls. Yeah. I'm like that verbally. I think, I know I shouldn't do this. I go, mate, why did you press that button? I have to... And I know I shouldn't be doing it. I'll just leave them.
That pressing the button, forget the lift.
It's really
it is annoying. It's annoying.
I think what it is I have to say something when I know I should.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of times when I was a kid, I used to get punched in the face. I can't let it go. I can't let it go.
Yeah.
And I'm still a little bit like that now. I think part of the problem is when you've been a comedian for 30 years, there's almost no differentiation between you being on stage and off stage. So when you're on stage, basically on stage is where I can be how I am and it's acceptable. But how I am in the outside world is not necessarily as easy. So I forget that they don't know I'm a comedian. So if I start going, what are you doing that for? Why are you doing, on stage, they're going, but in life they're going, oh my God, this frightening skinhead bloke. is saying it. So I forget that, and it kicks off. It's tricky. As Frank Bruno was saying, very tricky, very slippery, very tough.
Frank's that's another West Ham fan there.
Yeah, he must be. Yeah, I don't see Frank around. We used to see him a lot in Newham. I mean, because he used to train in Canning Town, of course. So I can feel a little bit of a Frank Bruno, very tricky customer, Tricky. That's what he used to say. Very slippery, isn't it? But yeah, Frank, man. Yeah, those were great days. You know, so a bit of sorry that's not football related.
Frank's
So yeah, to get back on track, lots of tricky different gigs and stuff like that. But
and you've just completed your smart casual tour, but there's another tour coming up. How can people?
Well, we did the final gigs at Theatre Royal Stratford. I mean, how many
nights? You did a few gigs
there.
Well,
we did two there. Two. We sold out twice at Theatre Royal Stratford. We did 60 gigs on the tour. And we did the film with a special, what they call a special, where you film your gig and then that goes out. We filmed that at Theatre Royal Stratford. And to see my name outside Theatre Royal Stratford, I mean, unbelievable.
Blessed.
You know, and also to consider that I started in a workshop over the road in a little community. So that was a lovely thing. But I don't want people thinking I've earned a load of money, all right? I'm sitting in Custom House.
Yeah,
all right.
That's the disguise. This disguise.
He
definitely has earned enough.
I'm still only the second most famous person from Custom House after Danny Dyer. Yeah, he's still ahead of me. But so finish that tour. So now what I'm doing is writing a new show, ready for the next tour, which might be in a couple of years. You know, it takes a while to write it, then you've got to bed it in, and then you have to, but I've got a theme and I've got an idea, and some of it's going to be about the struggles I have on a daily basis. With these little things. Yeah. It's going to be a lot about that, really.
That's brilliant.
I can't reveal too much, but I've got some great ideas. Well, I've also got a new girlfriend who's helped inspire me to write some stuff as well. So,
is she quite funny, or is she the opposite to you?
She's very funny.
Oh, okay.
She's hilarious. Actually, she's more like a sitcom. She'd be in a sitcom.
Oh, yeah.
But she's a larger-than-life character.
Okay.
And I think if you're a bit larger than life yourself, I think that's what you need, someone who's resilient.
Yeah.
That can take you, and you're not a problem. So I'm in a good place at the moment. New girlfriend, in love, bang in love. Yeah.
You're the hat trick at the moment.
Yeah.
You've lived through some amazing highs in West Ham. We were chatting a minute ago about, you remember the street parties in 1975 after West Ham won the FA Cup 50 years ago.
People were painting walls, claret and blue and all that. It was mad. It was crazy. Yeah. It was great. It was fantastic. Yeah. It was,
Good old days.
So, yeah.
And Carlton, we might have some good days again very soon. I mean, everyone talks about the academy team, the under-18s winning the FA Youth Cup a couple of years ago. You were responsible for a lot of those guys.
What do you mean responsible? Don't say that.
I saw you on the touchline, Jose Mourinho, training a lot of those guys.
Yeah, I tried.
And now they're breaking. Do you wear a suit or a tracksuit?
No,
tracksuit manager.
Italian stylings.
Tony Pulis.
Okay.
Tracksuit man, the cap. You know what I mean?
It was wonderful to see, Carl. Like, there's some of the pictures of you on the touchline pointing and gesticulating.
Yeah. You gotta look like you're doing it right.
Well, there is that,
what I might be saying is not right, but
fans complain if their manager doesn't look like he's stressed out. If there's a manager sitting there, he could be just as good or just as. Yeah. But you got to look like you're emotionally invested.
The FA, when you do your course at the FA, they don't want you to show any kind of emotion, so you're supposed to look like that, or look like that, like you're thinking like into the abyss and like. But I'm like, I can't help myself. That's why it worked for me. I'm like that, doing the splits, going like that, feet up like that. I can't get it right, so I had to pull away a little bit. But I did enjoy my time as a coach and a manager. Yeah,
and a lot of these players that you brought through and now making their way.
I didn't bring them through. It wasn't me.
Sorry, let me rephrase that. Yes. A lot of these players that you were entirely responsible for in terms of their entire careers and livelihoods.
Oh gosh,
you did like Ollie Scholes.
It's mentoring, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I was the club mentor, and obviously when you've been through that journey, you can give back a little bit. And I just thought, and the way I felt I was coaching and where I felt I was going to be most valuable would be to just share my experiences. Obviously, teach them about the emotions in the game, how to control it, and just learn from my mistakes and what I would do better, and you just give that to the next generation. That's why you should be getting better players after your generation, because you should be teaching them what you were missing. and so they can better you. And that's what your role as an ex-pro manager or coach should be doing. And it's not just about the tactics, but yeah, you learn different techniques on how to approach a player, how to be a people's person. I've learned a lot from coaching, how to not manipulate, but try and get the best out of people and try and say the right buzzwords. And I think it's very important to be able to have that skill in your later life as well. And you learn from different reactions as well, how players are going to react to certain words, or if they're being criticised, how to criticise them so you get the best out of them so they can cause a reaction so they can be better the next game. And these are the things that I felt I could bring to the table and hopefully get them to the next level. But look, it weren't just me. You got a whole team behind me as well and in front of me that will help, and we all think together in the same way and try and get the West Ham way to these kids so they understand the values of the club.
Yeah. And how does it feel when you see someone like Ollie Sculls?
Oh, it's brilliant. See,
bedding in.
That type of thing is priceless. It's like scoring a goal. Like when you see a player that you've had a hand in coaching, and all the other people that had the hand in coaching them and getting them in the right frame of mind, and you can always tell who's going to do it or not quite early just by their mentality and the way they look at things and ask questions, and just the way that, and sometimes they're probably too nice, but that means they're just humble, and you can't they won't change because that's their DNA. But at the same time, they're quietly confident, you know, and you can see that this boy can go all the way just if he's got the right luck, stays injury free, and exerts himself in the right way, and just has as we said, has the values of the club at his heart.
Do you do any of that, Jeff, like mentoring younger comedians?
It's funny, I was thinking that because I've been running comedy workshops for a few years. I only stopped doing it because I've been busy with being famous, you know. But I know exactly what you mean, and sometimes, you know, some people get it. Yeah, some people just get it straight away, and you can see the people that get what you're trying to do. And, however, some people get it, but haven't always got the ability to act upon it. It's very hard, you know, with comedy. I guess there are some comparisons because, you know, I might take groups of 15 people and do 3 different workshops. Still, there might be one person I think might get there. The thing with comedy now, of course, it's not just professional comedy. Anyone can go out and perform comedy on an amateur level now, which never used to be the case when I started. So people only need to be just proficient enough to go out and do it as a hobby. But to do it professionally, the same with football, there's other things, isn't there? Yeah. And there's not many people, you know, 1 in 50 I see probably, where I think you can do it. Yeah,
because and listen, when you mentor someone and they go all the way, and you're thinking, wow, that's where I'm coming from. If I see Ollie Sculls, I see Lewis Sawford, I see George Urphy, I see Freddie Potts. Going to make their professional debuts and going on to do great things in the future. And there's loads more behind them that we could try and nurture and teach.
Yeah, I've just started to have a couple come up myself, and I thought,
it's rewarding.
From a couple
of
years ago, they've started to crack it a little bit.
It's so rewarding. It's so rewarding, and that's,
I mean, in many ways, we can't take responsibility for their talent, of course not. And I would never do that, but it's just guiding them a little bit and thinking, right, I think you could do this.
Because someone done it for you. And someone done
it for me. Somebody did it for me.
Someone done it for me. Although it might be the littlest thing.
Sure.
But if they just take that one thing and fly with it, that's enough. You know?
Yeah. Jeff, thank you so much.
It's been an honour and a privilege.
So great to have you.
On your way.
Exactly. Hey. Carlton, masterful co-host job. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Nice one.
I'll do a little bit on the side. Oh yeah, can I plug my podcast?
Go on.
Listen, if you're a Carlton Cole fan, please tune in to the Dressing Room Podcast. Bosh.
There you go.
Nice. Sorry to interrupt. Should I be promoting myself here as well?
Go for it.
I'm really bad at this.
So podcast, that's what we're supposed to
do. Jeff Innocent Official is the Instagram page if you want to follow me on there, or anything else. JeffInnocent.com is the website. Is that okay to do?
Go
that?
check it out. Go check it out. I know you've got a mailing list as well. Okay. Sign up to that for when the next tour comes.
So the fans have got a lot to look into now.
Look, we've basically given you a lot of admin.
Yes.
But thank you for listening. Thank you to Jeff. Thank you to Carlton.
Thank you.
And thank you to you. Until next time, come on, you Irons.